Welcome back to Tea or Coffee, and thank you for staying tuned. We're still talking about artificial intelligence, and we have a professional in the house. We've been having a very interesting conversation. And of course, don't forget that you can join us on Facebook Live at High Impact TV to, of course, drop your comments and your contributions. Yeah, so before we went on the break, we were talking about artificial intelligence.
Yes.
And during the break, we're also talking about how that this artificial intelligence, they are coming to take our jobs.
Yes.
So what is the way forward?
We must accept that the future of work has come upon us.
Okay.
And it's creeping in very gradually for people who live in sub-Saharan Africa. For those who are in the US and Canada and some other places, it's already on them. For us, by virtue of our non-responsiveness to many other things, it's going to creep in on us gradually. But very quickly, business people will begin to realize that it is better to hire a software that will not go on vacation, a software that will not go on maternity leave, a software that will not ask for breaks. So unfortunately, labor laws have to kick in to say, look, how do we gradually, so that we don't throw a whole bunch of people on the streets, how do we retrain our people to find out what the next level of their work should be, so that they can understand computer science and AI enough to be able to be the ones who will teach the machine. Because don't forget, AI is mimicking human intelligence. So for you now, let's say you're this brilliant, excellent producer that you are, a presenter that you are, and there is something so unique about the way you do the work you do, and we want to replace you with an AI. You will take like the rest of your career, essentially, modeling. So a computer programmer would try to model all the attributes of what you do, and that would take almost, an entire career to be able to do. And as you continue to evolve in your intelligence as well, you can be sipping pina colada somewhere on some, beach, and then you are still presenting. I mean, isn't that interesting? So that is it. but what we need to realize is that the same way you've talked about Cortana, you've talked about all of this, conversational AI that can basically speak to you.
Yes.
What you don't realize is that hundreds, thousands, if possible, of engineers are working on this. So in the US last year, 2.8 million jobs were posted online, and only 48% of them were filled. These are tech jobs. There is a deficit already, and that deficit is what is going to mop up those people you're talking about who are going to be out of jobs. The question is, for our geography, will the people who are left out of jobs, would they have the blessing of a government who is ready, or of an academia that is ready to change so that they can be prepared for the new world of work? For those who are already in mid-career, alternative education, how quickly can they adapt? How quickly can they go online and learn about how now financial analysts, for example, will be replaced by robo-advisors, and what they need to do to stand the edge above that?
Because I know I saw, there's a school, I wouldn't want to mention the school in Germany. They have free scholarship, not even scholarship, they're paying for tuition, everything from the beginning of the career to the end of the career. It has to do with artificial intelligence, computer science. So is it that schools in maybe developed countries are trying to imbibe artificial intelligence into their system?
Yeah, and a few universities around here too, perhaps. I probably won't want to mention, but I know there are a few universities here who are also working so hard. They are changing their faculty. They are adding up more, things into their curriculum that have to do with this. And that is what is making their graduates different from, the most. But out of the 148 universities or tertiary institutions we have here, I'm not sure we have up to 14 of them who now currently have an artificial intelligence faculty or department. There is a general, mandate that the Nigerian Computer Society gave to all departments that are running computer science to add up quite a few things to their curriculum, and many of them are adapting to that. But we need to do that as an act of law. There has to be some form of legislative, framework on how Nigeria is responding to artificial intelligence and the world of work, the new world of work, the future of work. So, for example, financial analysts will be replaced by analytical AI that can basically, pack historical data. If you're a financial analyst right now, you can't analyze 30 years of data in 3 hours, but the computer can do that.
Okay. Let's sorry to interrupt you. talking about analytical AI, when we went on the break, we're talking about types of AI. Now, you've mentioned analytical AI. I'd like you to expatiate on it, and of course, talk about the humanized AI. Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, analytical AI basically, as the word is, analyzes a whole lot of data, and that's why data science is important to AI, because there's a lot of data to now analyze. We live in a world where by the year, I think 2050, there's going to be maybe 10,000 zettabytes of data. That's like jargon for those who are measuring the size of data that we would have in the world. But the point is, analytical AI basically looks at historical data or present data, and then as a model to be able to tell how that is going to bring out inferences about decisions that business leaders must make for them to move to the next level. For example, if you are in the fast-moving commodity goods, market, you have vast amount of data about how products have sold in the past year, what is happening in the market. You can basically be able to use that data, pass it through an AI algorithm to be able to tell what is happening, visualize what is happening, and maybe even go on to another part of it, which is predictive AI, to be able to tell what will happen over the next 10 years based on that historical data. Humanized AI, on the other hand, are the kind of AI that are focused on trying to mimic human intelligence, like text-to-speech, or who are trying to process natural languages, or trying to support people as if they are humans, and reason like us. And these two fields are growing really fast and are becoming more applicable across several fields.
Okay, let me take you back to where you talked about change. Now, it's a fact that yes, change is a constant thing, and we have to, be prepared for when a particular change is going to take place.
That's right.
Yes. Now, when we went on break, I was talking to you about some movies that have already shown us
what the future is like.
Yes. And this particular movie.
What I think the future is like.
Okay. Yeah. So this particular movie talks about inventing or creating robots, and then at some point, those robots decided to wipe off humanity
and they
take over. That's what I'm saying. We don't have to let it get to that point. Do you understand? So if we now embrace it as Nigerians, and then peradventure we say, okay, let us make robots, that can also, be intelligent just like humans and mimic human intelligence, and they now plan to take over, what are we going to do
Take over humanity.
Well, there are a number of ways to respond to it. The first thing is there's always a giant button to press and switch off everything. That's number one. Okay. Scientists have told us to always remember that as humans, we can unplug. And because we can unplug, we are in charge. That's number one. Number two, we have the chance and the opportunity to build our ethics as a society into AI at this time. When it's still in the early stages, we can build the values of humanity. Right now, can't one human decide to wipe off the rest of the world? Yes, one woman can.
But it won't succeed.
But it won't succeed, right? So the same way. So our species is so closely knitted. We want to continue to inhabit this planet and all of that. We're even trying to colonize other planets, right? Yeah. Build colonies elsewhere. So the way we try to look at it is that if we have the chance now, which is what we have, to build our ethics, our values into AI, there is no chance that we'll end up like what you see in Terminator or any of those other sci-fi movies, And the key thing you must always remember is that there is a way to unplug every single thing that you've done. But the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, and we can't run away from that. I mean, think about how our city is organized today. There's so much traffic. Imagine if there was an AI to basically tell you the best routes to pass before you get to work. If there was an AI, if self-driving cars around Lagos could organize themselves. Humans like to pass through, everybody wants to use Third Mainland Bridge. So we get into that funnel. What about if self-driving cars can basically give us schedules of the best route to move, when to go? Exponential technologies like virtual reality will help us to transcend the limits and nuisance of space and time, to be able to go into our offices by just being in our rooms, attend meetings by not moving an inch, and all of those things are very crucial. And there are the demerits of this as well. I mean, people will say, now we won't exercise anymore because robots will watch the floors, we cook our food, we do all of that. And then if you have been reading about ending diseases in our lifetime, you would see that there are other research works going on as well to be able to push the edge of all of those things. So our values must remain as humans. We must exercise. We must, remember that no software or no AI is supposed to be essentially replacing humans. So, for example, in medicine, we're not looking for robots to replace doctors. We're asking that robots should assist doctors to get their work done. There are actually several fields like that where we're certain that AI is not going to totally take away their jobs, but anything that is repetitive, anything that is mundane, anything that is, boring, we want to make sure that AI can do that for us so that we can do more important things with our lives, like finding new spaces to go to and finding out whether Mars actually has some chance for us and ensuring that in our lifetime we can end diseases.
That could work. I not like I totally agree with
Both of you were like, that could work.
Because, when you mentioned traffic, I totally agree. And then when you talked about, other things.
Think about any difficult thing you do today.
I know, yes, I'm still waiting for us to develop that flying car. And I want the first person I want to be from Nigeria.
Oh, it's already, unfortunately, you're late now because...
I know people have been trying, but we will have it and someone in Nigeria is going.
Awesome.
But I know technology is advancing over time. And you mentioned that there are, demerits, there are disadvantages of, we getting to that point. So I want you to tell me what the disadvantages are.
Yeah, so a lot of people have argued about how technology is taking away our human connectedness, how connected we are to each other. When you go to a restaurant in the 1980s, you see people talking. Connecting.
Yes.
When you see a dinner table in the late 90s, you will see people having conversations. I learned most of the Yoruba anecdotes I know today just sitting with my father, my mom, and everybody and just chatting. But all that doesn't happen today. When people are together, you're eating and you're pressing your phones, you're all of that. So people have argued that we're no longer connected. People have also argued that there's a lot of obesity, there's a lot of sedentary-related diseases that are happening to people because they just sit in their cars, they don't walk around, they don't do all that, but the merits outweigh the demerits. And we must keep asking ourselves, really, what can we do to mitigate those disadvantages? There's also the fear of bad AI, what we call bad AI. So people who have malicious intentions can go on and build software that can hack, our systems. The wars for today or for tomorrow are not wars with guns and bombs anymore. They're cyber attacks. There are breaches in firewalls, breaches in data, emails exposed, personal data exposed, and all of that. And these are all demerits of the new world that we're going into. But we must also set up another army, and this is not an army with guns now, an army of other young people who will be ensuring that they can detect these vulnerabilities really early and begin to build the kind of technologies that would help us to overcome it. What is important to know is that it's not the kind of thing we can say, oh, no, don't come. When cars came, they came. Like, we couldn't do anything about it, So it's evolution for our species, and we must accept it and find ways to live with it in a way that we can still, enjoy our existence and live valuably.
Okay, so you did mention bad AI. We were having a conversation before the show, and we're talking about strong and weak AI.
Yes.
I'd like you to shed more light on strong and weak AI.
So people categorize AI into all kinds of things. They say, in fact, there's a professor, I don't remember his name right now, who is one of the progenitors of AI from the 1980s, but he believes that we're not doing AI yet. He believes that all of the things we're doing right now is still weak AI because it's just fast computing. That we need to get to the point where an AI can think for itself, an AI can do the things that humans do. So not just, I've told this AI to do this. People categorize things as weak AI when they still depend, when the AI still depends on the information the human gives to it. It is believed that a new life form that AI should be a new life form, and that's what some people call strong AI. It can also be categorized in this direction as well. If the layers, if you associate it with neural networks that I talked about the other time, if the layers in the number of layers in the neural network determines how strong the computer vision AI is. So if you build a computer vision AI that can recognize that this is a dog, but cannot recognize the breed of the dog based on its features, you can say the other one is weak and the later is strong. Because it has multiple layers, and so because of that, it's more accurate in its detection. So an AI can find out that this is a bottle, but another AI can say, no, this is a Coca-Cola bottle, because it's
calling out brand names.
All right, so we're talking about AI, and there's something also called machine learning.
Yes.
It's kind of confusing, because I get confused when you talk about AI and it still has to do with machine. So what's the difference between AI and machine learning?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that machine learning is a branch of AI that basically focuses on training machine learning models, which is ensuring that you can train models to be able to take certain action. So it's a type of AI where you use repetitive, learning models to be able to get a machine to get the gist, in quotes, about what you're trying to pass across. So it's a branch of AI. Understand that AI is the larger construct, and then machine learning is a branch of AI where you're trying to use a certain level of metrics and attributes to be able to get a model to learn, and the longer you train it, the more accurate it becomes.
Okay. All right, so we have a question from someone right now on Facebook, and the person is asking how you can get into, because you're already into artificial intelligence, how can she get into artificial intelligence?
How can you tap into it?
Yeah, so I mean, there are a variety of ways that you can get started. First, you must be interested, and which is already why you're asking that question. I would ask that you go online. I can give you a website to go to that actually helps. Go to covenworks.com, COVEN works.com, and then find where Coven Labs is right there. You can find out there are workshops in class and online sessions in Lagos and a number of other places. You can simply also do a random search online with a search engine and say, what is artificial intelligence, and watch a number of videos. You need a personal computer, so you should know that that's part of your tool that you need. It's like becoming a mechanic and not having a toolbox, right? So you need a personal computer where you can practice some of these principles. Again, the website is covenworks.com.
Okay, so you have a question. So you can just do everything, get everything done just online?
Yeah, so I would say that that's the beginning. You can start online, start building a few applications and all of that. You might want to formalize your education by furthering your pursuit by taking either a computer science degree with a specialization in AI, or finding out which schools around the world actually offer an artificial intelligence degree or specialization.
And remind me to send you your bill for calling that website.
Send me my invoice, actually.
I'm telling you. Okay, we have a question on Facebook, and Oluwatobi is saying that, how would you distinguish between AI, as artificial intelligence, and business intelligence?
Okay, so business intelligence is applying data science and AI to business data, right? So it is not, you can't particularly call it a field of AI, but AI there's some artificial intelligence tools that have been created to help you do business intelligence. You can actually do business intelligence as a human. You don't need AI to do business intelligence. But if you want to do accurate, deep business intelligence, you might want to employ data science principles and AI principles. Let me give you an example. Before AI came, you can basically look at, what did I sell 10 years ago? What did I sell 9 years ago? What did I sell 8 years ago? And come back to this and say, okay, if I had this together, I can get the mean or the average of what I've done to be able to determine my average sales for the next few years, isn't it? So you're using business data to generate insights to be able to move forward. Now today, because the data is so much, and if you work in a big company or you are in an industry that requires a lot of data to be analyzed, you want to use data science principles or AI tools to do that business intelligence.
So you can join us tomorrow for another exciting episode of Tea or Coffee.